Hey guys, welcome to this week's build stream. Trying something new out with a new screen because I got a bit bored of you guys not being able to see me and just having me in a little box. So I thought we'd start out with this view and then we'll move to the traditional top-down view shortly. Let's see who we've got in chat. Quite a few people by the looks of it. Everyone here to see the Polaris and see some giveaways, which is good. Who got first? That's the important thing. Loop Helio's got first and Daj was very close behind. I'm Karcher's here, Himps is here, LD Ra is here, Anaki's here as well. AKB James says good evening too. John Warren subscribed with Twitch Prime, thank you very, very much for that. Lexor is here as well, saying hello. Noxygen says giveaway. Yep, we've got some Steam codes, we've got a ton of games to give away today. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different codes to give away today, so plenty to do. Some are codes for games and some are vouchers for vendors as well, so lots to see and do there. What else? Who else have we got? So John Warren subscribed with Twitch Prime, thank you very much. Noxygen's here, Lexor's here, Lala Island, Techniques, Vogon, NR Bigfoot, Vanstrom, Pub Goku, Fire Wrath. Thank you very much for joining, folks. Elmo's here as well. Max Surfy's here, the legend, the render legend that he is. Retrap says, stop that Polaris build, I need one now. It's right here at the side of me. We're going to take it out of the box in a second. I have seen this already. I haven't not unboxed this one already, so I have seen this. Where's the sound? Sorry, sound should have been there. You should be able to hear me now. And drinking tea. Nice. Nothing wrong with a bit of tea. The sound will appear when Top Clack's face does. No, I think it was just me not turning it on properly. That's all it was. But you should have heard some music just before the stream. Unfortunately, my TV seems to not be working today. For some reason, it just does not want to connect to YouTube. So there will be no music unless it decides it's going to work this time around. So we'll give it one more try. But it's been a pain, so I don't know. It just seems to say loading all the time. We'll give it a minute or two and we'll see if it loads up. Salvan's here as well, Mr. CNC Legend himself. It is connected to the internet. Maybe that's the issue. We'll give it another minute. I don't know. We'll see. It may or may not work. If it doesn't, then sorry, but there'll be no music. There is sound already. Yes, there should have been sound. Mac, Wenken, One Creative Mind, all here as well. Unicorn Salami subscribed for 2 months. Thank you very much, Unicorn Salami. That's a great username. Max here, checking out what we're building. Vanstrom says, what's popping? Just regular old Sunday afternoon. Is my chat broken? Shouldn't be. I can see what you're saying anyway. Gio's here as well, checking out what we're giving away. So a ton of different game codes and some gift cards for Project Keyboard and Dixie Mac as well today. That's what's on the list of things to give away. Do you only stream 1080p because I'm on mobile data? You should be able to change that on Twitch. So we just stream to Twitch at the standard that it allows us to. You should be able to tweak it on Twitch there as well. Yeah, it's not how we push it kind of side. It's definitely on the Twitch side. Stash is here raiding with a party of 7. Stash, your board is due to go on Tuesday, good sir. The HL have finally confirmed the pickup slot, so we'll get on with that as well. Caffeine connoisseur. That sounds like me on a morning, does that, when I need my coffee? So welcome to the stream, guys. Right, okay, so that's kind of it. A couple of things I wanted to shout out. One, we are going to be building the Lego Batmobile that came out a couple of weeks ago on stream during the week at some point. It's going to be a late night stream here for me in the UK, which is probably going to start around 10-11 PM, which means it's probably going to be around tea time for most of the US, so somewhere between 4 and 8 o'clock depending on where you are. So I'm really excited to do that because this box is huge and it looks amazing. So this is the box and this is the card. So it looks absolutely fantastic. Really excited to build that. The other thing that you may have noticed that I finished building as well is the Nixie clock. It is working. It's just over there on my desk, just in the background, sat right underneath the TV. So that's all looking good as well. So I didn't finish that on stream. I just got really bored on Friday, which was my birthday, and decided that I was just going to finish it off there and then. This TV is definitely not working. I have no idea what's wrong with it. Prime Video works just fine, but YouTube, nothing. Don't know. There we go. Anyway, we'll turn it off. We'll just have to go this stream without any music. Right then. So, J-Score on the Nixie clock. It's amazing. I love it, and I want another one now. So yeah, so that's how good that is. I have no option to change from 1080p. If the option isn't there, it's because Twitch doesn't always promote it for non-partnered streamers. So if you're only an affiliate like we are, then you don't always get that ability. It all depends on Twitch's capacity at the time as to whether that option shows, is my understanding. Please feel free to correct me if that's wrong, but we can't control what we output at Twitch's side, so it's just that's it. It's Derek says, Jay, chat. I am talking. You should be able to hear me. Happy birthday. Thank you very much for all the birthday wishes there. Yes, I was 35, for those of you wondering. But Keygem Schiffer says, greetings from Germany to the UK. Thank you, dude. Nixie Clock doesn't even have Nixie switches, shaking my head. Also, happy birthday. So, interestingly, on the back of the Nixie Clock, there are some buttons to set it. I was tempted to change them for Nixie switches. I'm going to see if I can work out how to do that and wire them in at some point soon. Need beard stat. Beard stat right now is day 14 from being completely clean shaven on the sides, and my barber's is obviously closed. So, the beard is just growing out of control. The hair needs cutting as well. I'm starting to get wispy bits at the side because the hair needs cutting. Yeah, if I bring my hair forward, it's actually down to like my top lip now. No touch face, sir. I've literally just washed my hands before the stream. It's all good. I literally got out of the shower like 7 or 8 minutes before I went live, so all good. Happy birthday. That's a great one. That's a great one. No touch face, sir. Yeah, I'll try not to touch my face anymore, but I'm very, very terrible for that. But I'm in my own home. I'm pretty comfortable here. It should be okay. Okay, stream in your robe. I take off my hat and robe, something like that. Is that how it goes? We'll see. We'll see. No, I'm streaming in just a t-shirt. There's nothing on the bottom half, but no, I'm joking again. I am wearing pants. It's all good. Yeah, so today we're going to be building... I no longer look like a wizard. Now, who's this cutie? Fair enough. Not me. Must be watching another stream. So today I'm going to be building the Polaris, which I'm really, really excited to show you guys because it's in one of my favourite colours. As anyone who watches Top Clacks knows, I like a good green. And this green on this board is particularly good. So I'm really, really interested to see what you guys think of it and how it looks in the end. Now I have got a green key set ready to go on this. It's actually on another board at the minute. I need to pull it off. James AKB will be jealous because it's one of his favourite sets as well, so I'm hoping it works well. If it doesn't work well, then I'm going to switch it from this set, which you'll see later on in the stream, to 9009 and use the green accent spacebar or enter or escape or something like that. But I didn't want to do that today. I wanted to use my favourite green set at the minute. Yes, Royal Alpha, that is the key set we're going to be using. It's actually on the jerkin right now, so sorry jerkin, but it's going to come off of here and it's going to go onto the Polaris. Now we will be using the white mod certified for this as well. I have got all of the white mods here. The green mods I'm not a fan of, so we're going to be sticking with the white mods, but we will be doing that once the board's built. Okay. So, with that said, we are going to flick over onto the build stream. Now, what I did forget to do is put the transition in here, so this is probably going to be really janky as we move over to the build stream view, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Oh, it did do a transition, and it ruined something else. Let me just fix that white box behind my my face. Let me fix this. Let me fix this. There we go, done. Done. Okay, so now we're back in the normal view that you can see every week. As you'll see up here, we have got Mechanisk as our new sponsor and my keyboard EU as the build stream sponsor as well. Nearly spilt my drink. Nice transition. Artistic. No, it's just a shit transition. It was the first one I could find that I could put in place that actually did something rather than just going click and across to the other one. If you've got questions from Mac, try and tag me using @TopClack first, because otherwise I'm probably going to miss it. But I've been into... Do you know what, guys? I'm going to have to put some music on, because this is really frustrating me. But I've been into keyboards for about 4 or 5 years constantly, and before that maybe 3 or 4 years on and off. So probably close to 7 years now. I'm going to put some music on, but you're going to have to hear it through the microphone, which is going to be really shit, so I do apologise, but I feel better when there's music playing, so... let me get some music going. There we go. That shouldn't be too loud. That shouldn't come up too loud, but hopefully it'll be all right. Okay. Oh gosh, no, maybe that is going to be too loud. There we go. There we go. Better than nothing. Better than nothing, right? Okay, cool. Just getting ready to build my jerkin, but can't get case because I can't go to a laser cutter. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah. PowerPoint envy. Nice transition. Oh, well, it's not done on PowerPoint. It's done on Streamlabs. So, but yeah. An iron brewed a day keeps the corona away. Well, so my wife was ill a couple of weeks ago because we didn't do a build stream about 2 weeks ago, and then she got better, and now we think she does have coronavirus. Now we're not gonna go and get her tested or anything like that. We're basically just gonna lock ourselves in the house, apart from 1 hour a day when no one else is around at 5 AM. I'm gonna walk the dog, but other than that, there'll be no leaving the house for either of us. So we do think that she has got coronavirus given her symptoms, but it's only very mild at the minute. So she's actually sleeping on the couch in the living room right now. So yeah, that's one of those things. Again, question coming through from It's the Anorak. Can you give specs on your daily driver keyboard? Yes, this one right here is the J01. This is a board of my personal design. As you can see, it's got the logo here. Pen rail, removable pen rail held in place by magnets. And it's just a 65% with macro keys. So I have multiple controls such as put my computer to sleep, volume up and volume down, play, pause, stop different tracks when I'm using Spotify, all of that kind of thing. ISO layout because it's my favourite layout. GMK Honeywell, it's fully gasket mounted, isolation gasket mounted. That's about it. Yeah, USB-C, central USB-C on a dot board. Not sure what else I have to say, but there we go. J01 round 2 when? So I was going to run that probably towards the end of March originally. Given the way that the climate with COVID-19 is right now, it's probably going to be towards the end of April, maybe May time when we do it, because we're still going to, James and I are going to work together to revise it. There's going to be some slight differences. I want it to be more accessible, and that means simplifying the design to make it cheaper to produce and make it cheaper for people to buy as well. So there we go. This is a pen on the pen rail. This is a fountain pen. This is my daily pen I use to sign all the documents for prototypists and everything else when the camera decides to focus. Come on, there you go. It's just a nice solid piece of brass. Cool. Peripheral installers here as well. Says best wishes for the wife Jay. That's rough, man. Yeah, most people are going to get it or know someone who gets it. We think that that's what she's got. It's either that or it's the normal flu. We're probably not going to take her to the hospital to get tested because it just doesn't feel like that it's any point. But thank you everyone for thank you very much for all of the well wishes for her. I'll pass those messages on straight after this stream. Pusher says, oof, time to start our slow dancing moves. Jay's hair, this music. My hair is just wet out of the shower. This is this is just my fingers brushed through it. I haven't done anything else with it. This is just how my hair goes. Can you please update daily news on Daily Clack? Ask Brian. If Brian isn't doing it, we don't do Daily Clack either. It's Top Clack. We don't do Daily Clack. That's very different. But if you mean the weekly news on the Top Clack website, that's Brian and not me. I don't actually have access to do it as far as I'm aware. I will chase him up on that for you as well this afternoon. For the J01, what sort of money can I expect to be allowed to get rid of? I don't know. So the original ones were just shy of $600, and that was done at cost price, but there was only 15 of them. The gaskets were really expensive, the PCBs were really expensive, and that's kind of something that I've tried to get the price down on. So we've got a new manufacturer for gaskets, which is the one we're using for the J02, and I want to change the design so it's a little bit easier to machine because there's a lot of complexity in the machining inside the board. So yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. Did you think of only having one row of F keys on the left of the new J01 to keep a symmetrical look? No, the layout will be identical. The layout will not change. From the top down, the view of the board should be almost the same. The differences will all be internal and the side, so there's unlikely to be the brass profile on the side that you can see just here. So that brass profile is likely to go as we go for a more seamless design for it to keep the costs down. Blue Note says, I typed on that at the Seattle meetup last year, one of my favourite meetups. Thank you. I do remember meeting you actually, I think. I'm pretty sure we had a good five-minute conversation. Well, maybe not 5 minutes, but because I spoke to about 1,000 people that day. But I think I do remember saying hello to you. I think I do. So I hope it was you, and I hope you enjoyed the day. If you could solve world hunger or have unlimited free tacos for life, would you choose the hard or the soft tacos? I'd choose hard tacos. I like that crunch. And if I'd got unlimited tacos for life, I'd be able to solve world hunger with the unlimited tacos. So I'd kill both birds with one stone. R2 is planned for JO1, but it won't be the same as this. It'll be slightly different, and it'll still be unit capped to something like 40 units. It's likely to run late April, early May. It's going to be a bit of a rehashed design, simple as that. It's going to be cheaper than the 15 that were previously done, so it's not going to be the same board. It's not going to be as premium. It's going to be a little bit cheaper, a little bit more accessible, but it should still have the same sound and feel, but some of the premium features will disappear off the board. What is the gasket made of? Nitrile rubber. Nitrile rubber. Will it still be the best sounding board ever made? Daj, that is completely subjective and entirely up to the listener, so maybe. First come, first serve. It depends on how much interest there is. I will probably run it as a Discord only kind of thing, and so the plan in my head is to run it as a Discord only thing. People in my Discord will offer it up for them. There's a few people who are definitely going to get one because they've been really supportive and they've been nagging for one. So there's a couple of people that will get them. The rest, it'll be just fill out a form and it'll be raffled off. I'm not a fan of first come, first serve because, well, it all depends on what time zone you're in as to whether you can make it and all that kind of thing. I do feel that raffles a little bit fairer, but it all depends on the interest check. I don't want to do a huge amount. So there we go. Speaking of cool things, any GMK Midnight Rainbow news? Yes, so GMK Midnight Rainbow is coming in June. The group buy will run in June on Novel Keys, mykeyboard.eu, Novel Keys up there as well, mykeyboard.eu. In Europe, this was all arranged before I set up my store, so this is all going to still run through the original vendors. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Going to be some slight tweaks on the layout, a couple of the keys, things like that. MaxF is probably going to be getting an email the next week or so asking him to redo some renders and take on some tweaks. But yes, that's coming. Can't sleep through another JBOD release. Yeah, well, we'll get one. That's a sexy set, GMK Midnight Rainbow, that is. Thank you, Salvan. I appreciate that you like it. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship for most people. Some people really like it, some people really don't. I'm ambivalent either way. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, then great. So yeah. Right, anyway, before we start the stream, before I unbox the Polaris, which is here in this box, Polaris, right there, I want to do one of the quick giveaways. So how we're going to do this today, guys, is I'm going to ask you a really, really easy trivia question. And you guys are going to put the answer into chat. I'm going to get the question ready now. Let me go to the giveaway section of Nightbot. So everyone's eligible for this. We're going to do it as a keyword giveaway. I don't want to type it, so I'm going to copy it from somewhere else so you guys can't be clever and see what I'm putting in. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to give away is a game called Tales of Berseria. Tales of Berseria. I have no idea if this is good or not. This was a code that was donated by James AKB, I believe. So we're going to give that away. So the question I'm going to ask you guys is... where's the question? How many continents are there in the world? How many continents are there in the world? I'm looking for a single number. Put it into chat. You've got about a minute, and then I'm just going to roll the winner, and whoever wins it will get Tales of Berseria, and I'll give them that code either on Discord or Twitch Whisper straight after the stream. So you won't get it during the stream, you get it after the stream. So we're looking for the number, not the word. So don't type out, say, if you think the answer is 6, don't type SIX, put the number 6 if that's what you think it is. And we'll roll it in about 30 seconds. 35 of you have entered and got the right answer, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. Why Google the answer when you can just read chat? Maybe everyone in chat gets wrong. There won't be difficult questions, guys. These are not going to be difficult questions. It's mainly to stop bots. That's the reason why we're doing this. And also to have a little bit of fun. Chat might lie, be careful. Yeah, it's true. Oh, this might not have been one of James's. I don't know. No. I've never heard of it. Tales of Berseria, however it is, but yeah. Tales of Berseria. I don't know how it's pronounced. I apologise if I got it wrong. That feeling it was actually a difficult question. Fair enough. Right, let's roll this and see who the winner is. So the winner is Corbin Dallas. Thank you very, very much for your winner, for your input. He is the winner of that code. I'll get that to him straight after the stream. Corbin, if you want to DM me on Discord, then I shall get that to you into the chat straight afterwards. It's not rigged. You can call it scuffed or whatever else you like, but that's it. But there we go. Corbin Dallas, congratulations. Well done. Reach out to me, whichever platform you know how to get in touch with me on. DM me and I'll pop the code in there after the stream. Cool. Okay, so that's the first giveaway done. Now what we'll do is we'll unbox the board, we'll take a look at what's inside the box and everything else, and then we'll do the next giveaway. So there we go. So this is how the box comes. Now the first thing I got when I opened it was actually this lovely little card. So I'm just going to hold this up so you guys can see it. So it says, especially for you, to see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. And it's got these lovely scented wildflower on the front, and it says, "Hi Jay, wish all the best wishes for you from KBD fans," which is really sweet, right? How sweet was that? How sweet was that? Now I know that KBD fans are one of our sponsors, but I wasn't expecting that, but it was really nice when I got that inside. Okay, so in terms of the box, you get this nice Polaris branding on the front by Kevin Plus and AIO3, just a standard AIO3 logo on one side, and then on the other side it's got the same logo as well. And then on the rear they've done this quite clever thing, which means that they've got all of the different options on here that says which it is. So this is the order number, the version which I have, which is wing keyless. So you can see that I've got a wing keyless version with a half plate in polycarbonate. It's a green board with one PCB and one set of foam, and the brass finish is gold. So there you go. So wing keyless green board with PC half plate. Excellent. In terms of opening the board up, first thing we're greeted with is a nice disclaimer. Now I haven't actually opened this manual up, so I'm going to open it up in a second, but it basically says that there's a little bit of it's a difficult build to do if you haven't done them before, so there is a manual there to open up as well. So I am going to open that up. In fact, I should get that to one hand, just in case I need to refer to it. Let me put this to one side. So it's kb.aio3.me/Polaris manual. Okay. Excellent. So I have that manual up just in case I need to refer to it. If there's anything that gets just seen all the comments of rigged, and I agree. Fair enough. Abstan says I have 2 Polaris boards that haven't even shipped yet. This actually got stuck in Poland for nearly 10 days. It took a really long time to come through, so it was one of those things. It's with how good the Polaris is. I'm really looking forward to AIO3's Vega. Yeah, well, we'll see how good it is today. Said I missed out on this. I was out of the hobby for a few months when this ran. Always happens, but there's always more boards coming, and the aftermarket is kind of insane these days. So then inside here we get a nice big thick piece of foam. There we go, lovely. And then underneath here you can see that everything's kind of packed into the board vertically. So we've got a PCB, which we'll look at separately shortly. We've then got a plate. We've got a ton of different hardware, feet, all kinds of stuff in here. Some gaskets, some of the PCB add-ons to make sure the stabs clip in, all of that kind of stuff. Some tools and some screws. I think that's it. Is that it in there? I think that's it there as well. And then the final thing we've got is the board. Now you guys can kind of see the green there, but this is a really, really, really nice green. Okay. The board just comes like this, just in a plastic bag. Slide that out. And here we go, guys. Layer of foam for between the switches and the plate. Layer of foam to go in the base of the case as well. Excellent. And then here you go, guys. Here is the board. There's the Polaris logo. Wing keyless green. It's pretty chunky. It's not super heavy, but it's pretty chunky. The weight is loose in this. Now I'm not sure if that's just because it's not screwed in properly or it's not fastened properly or what, but that is the weight moving around. So we do need to look at that. Flipping the board over, you can see that it's got the AIO3 logo on the base. That angled back. Side profile. You can see that this is where the seam is effectively, although I would call this more of a seamless board because you don't actually see the transition itself. Front profile, it's kind of low, looks kind of low. I'd have to measure it, but I'd suspect that that's just under, somewhere around 17, 18, 19 millimeters, something like that. But it looks pretty damn nice, pretty good. Okay, so the colour looks great, by the way. I'm really big fan of this green. I think it looks fantastic. Really, really big fan of that. It's not quite a racing green. It's a little bit lighter than a racing green, but it's close. I just joined Twitch for this. Well, thank you very much for joining Twitch. Drop test. There you go. That was probably a bit loud. It is a nice green. Yeah, Polaris has been handled by Kevin at AIO3, while KBD fans only took care of shipping. Yes, I believe that's the case. Yeah. Jono Warren says, has it been coated or will it patina? I think it'll patina. It doesn't feel like it's been coated. And just in this back corner, you can't really see it on the stream, but there is a little bit of patination there. And there's some sort of droplet of water that's been on it there as well, but that'll probably clean off. I'll do that off stream after it's all put together. It's so nice. I can't wait for my polycarbonate one to show up. I just built a white one and this thing is so nice. You're going to like it a lot, Jay. Thank you. What plate did I get? I got a polycarbonate half plate, which we'll look at in a second. I'm just going to put these foams back in here for now, because we will need to make sure that we're utilising them correctly when it comes to the build. Again, these just go under where you put the stabilizers into the board, and it's because the PCB is a little bit thinner than normal, and this allows you to thicken it up so that the stabilizers clip in. If you watched my Jane build a couple of weeks ago, you would have seen me using these and struggling like hell with them. But we'll get there and we'll get through it. Again, as I said, just some tools and some extra screws. Looks like screws for the weight. These are the gaskets. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but if I go like that, you can kind of see each of the individual layers of gaskets cut through. And then we've got some feet and some additional gaskets here as well. So there we go. In terms of the plate, it's here. Polycarb half plate, yes. I got 2 plates, but they send only 1 set of gaskets. Do you think you can put the gaskets on the board instead of the plate? I shall have a look in a second, but I would imagine that you can. So this is the polycarbonate half plate. It is universal, which means I can build it ISO or ANSI, but that's looking pretty good there. It's going to be interesting building that with this. So there we go. So that's going to sit something like that, I believe. There we go, that's how that's going to sit on there. Which is kind of interesting. It's kind of really, really interesting. I don't think I could move it over either. Yeah, it does have to go there. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. Just trying to see if I could get away with moving it a little bit, but no, it has to go in that top corner. But that's the plate. In terms of the PCB, you don't need stab streams for Everglides. It's only necessary for GMK stabs. Apparently excellent. That's good to know because I'll be using Everglides on this particular build. Nice idea with the packaging in vertical. Yeah, it is a nice idea. I do like that. It's not the first board I've seen with vertical packaging, but it is always good to see it. Interesting to see the foam with the half plate. Agree. Didn't realise the foam between the plate and the PCB didn't cover everything. Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to be. Won't the foam go under the plate? So it will do, yes. So it'll actually go this way around. So when I'm doing it, it'll be like so. That's where the foam will sit underneath it, and the PCB will go underneath there. Here is the Polaris PCB. There's a couple of things I want to shout out here. It's got some really, really, really nice little logos here, depending on where you want to put the ISO key, the ANSI key, again ISO. These are all for the stabilizers and things. So if you want to use a 2U one, so it makes it really clear which set of holes you want to use. And then again, same for the space bar on here as well. Really, really nice. And there's got this huge flexibility cut or relief cut, whatever you want to call it, in the middle, which is really, really nice as well. On the reverse, you'll see that it's got the Polaris branding there as well, and a ton of underglow options, which we won't be using for this particular one. But you can see on the original underneath foam, the bottom layer of foam, these holes here are actually for where those LEDs are going to sit, and these are for where the stabilizers are going to sit. So there we go. USB-C, which is always nice to have. So there we go. No music. There is music on, but my TV's not working. For some reason, it won't connect to YouTube, which is really frustrating because it was on all day. So there is some music playing in the background. It's really quiet because it's coming. You'll hear it through my microphone rather than through the TV in the background, which is interesting as well. But it's just one of those things. The TV's been on all day. It's had YouTube on all day while I've been doing stuff in here. I turned it off, went to go have dinner and a shower, came back, and for whatever reason it just tells me it's loading YouTube all the time. It's connected to the internet because Amazon and Netflix and everything else works. YouTube just doesn't want to play, so I don't know. Is there any reason why the foam doesn't cover the whole thing? I think the reason for the foam not covering the whole thing is because of all the different options that you could have. So you could have 2U backspace or split backspace and your ISO enters. By the time you've gone through all of that, you just end up with a big hole anyway. So I think this is rather than just put some outside bits around it. So yeah. This is going to be an interesting build. Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to it. Flex cut. Yeah. Considerate design. Nice. It is. It's really nice. I think AI03 did a ton of sound testing, so maybe that cut of foam was all that they wanted to sound good. Perhaps, yeah. Don't need music, just your soothing voice. Dulcet Yorkshire tones, yeah. Is the owner of the board in chat? Yeah, I'm here. Me. Hello. Yeah. 99% of the boards I build on stream are mine. So, yeah. But I don't really do customer builds. I do some customer builds. It's a lie if I say I don't. Pub Goku, I think he's in chat. I built his board for him. I've built a few others, but I do maybe 5 customer builds a year, and I stream every single Sunday, and the rest of the boards are mine. So, you know, I mean, you can see in my collection, or some of my collections on the walls here. I've got keyboards left, right, and centre, all down the side here. I've got some more over there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just at the side here. There's keyboards everywhere. These cupboards are actually full of keyboards as well. So that particular cupboard there is my build queue. I think there's 9 keyboards in there ready to go. The other side is full of Allisons for Mr. Petrov, which are just waiting some replacement plates and some other parts to come back from the finishes. So yeah, there's just tons of them, but they're not particularly customer builds. Have I tried turning off and on again? Did you do a real reboot? Smart TVs don't turn off per se. So the problem with that is that the cables run through the wall for the TV. So because the cables are in the wall, I'd actually have to go behind the desk here to get to the power socket to flick it off and on, which is a real pain, and I don't really want to do it. Although having said that, the TV's on a bracket that will pull away from the wall. I could probably get to the cable that way and pull it out of the TV and put it back in. I don't know. Just hold the off button for a bit longer. Okay, let's try that then. Let's turn it back on. It's still doing the loading thing for YouTube. So hold the power off button. I didn't seem to do anything else. But we'll see. We shall see if it even comes back on now. Oh, that's a different screen. It's a screen we haven't seen before. Maybe that works. If that works, thank you very much for that. Okay, so it's telling me that there's no signal on HDMI, but I'm not even trying to use HDMI. Okay, well, this is looking a little bit more promising. We'll hopefully this will work. Tech Clack with Jay, I can dig it. It's been working all day. Here we go. Right, let me turn off this one so we don't hear it twice. Oh, that's better. That's much better. There we go. Thank you, whoever gave me the idea to hold key gem Shifra. Thank you very much for that. That really worked. I didn't realise that was going to work, but thank you. It also reboots the internet connection. I think that's what. Well, I think the internet was fine. I think it was just that particular app that had broken. But there we go. There we go. Thank you very much, Keydrum. Thank you. There we go. We're all working now. It feels much better to hear the music coming from behind me rather than in front of me. So there we go. Cool. Right. Yeah, you'll see it backwards, guys, because so I actually flip this camera that you can see here, and the reason that I do that is so that when I lift my left arm, you see it like that, and it doesn't go something like this. You don't see, because the last thing I would want you to see would be that, because that's just really weird. So I flip this camera in front of you round so you can see that the hand as it comes up and down. It's either that or I flip this camera around and then that keyboard looks like it's over here and all the letters are back to front. So you're actually seeing a reverse image of me rather than what you'd actually see in real life. It's just one of those things. There we go. Mike Click says perfectly normal is a moving target. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Cool. So without much further ado, it's time to have a look at this board. I haven't tested this PCB yet, so I'm going to do that just now. Let's get up switch here so you guys can see it. Now, normally I do test all of the PCBs prior to the stream running. Today just didn't have a chance, so let's. That's a good sign. All of the lights are on. I'm just going to test a few random keys here and then trust that everything else is okay. Okay, everything's looking good. Don't know which do I need to test here. I can't work that out. Okay. Okay. Backspace. Yeah. Okay. All looking good. I don't think anything's not going to be working. I think it's all going to be fine on this. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's enough to convince me that everything's working. So we'll go with that. Now try and plug this back in without damaging it. Come on. There we go. Cool. Okay, so now we know that that's working. The next step is for us to lube the stabilizers, put these in place. Happy I was able to help. Sadly, I need to go. Have a nice evening. A lot of fun with the build. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your evening. Is there any way of fixing hot swap sockets, or is it just easier to replace them? You can try reflowing them. That's it. How long ago was this group by? I don't actually know. It's not that long since we joined it. I can tell you in a second because I'll get the date from my email. What's the best way to find it? Order was confirmed August the 6th, 2019. August 6th. So there you go. Okay, so as I say, we are going to put the stabilizers in place. Yeah, August last year, yeah. Exactly that. August 6th I paid for it. We are using the Smoky Everglide stabilizers. These are Smoky Black or Smoky Grey Everglide stabilizers. Get rid of switch hitter. You guys don't need to be able to see that now. Off it goes. Cool. So these are what we're going to be using today. Now we are going to need one for backspace. We're going to need the 7U spacebar. We're also going to need one for ISO enter. We're going to split the right shift because I don't like to have full right shift, and because it's ISO we won't need a stabilizer there either, so we just need backspace, enter and spacebar, and that's it. So we can get rid of this as well. So we'll need 6 of the housings, and then we'll need 6 inserts as well. The rest of these can go back in the bag. It's been 8 months. Time flies. Yeah, 8 months doesn't seem like that long ago now for a keycap group buy. It feels kind of average. That was a big keycap month. I'm sure I was out of funds. It happens to all of us. I can't have everything, sadly, and I wish I could. I wish I could buy everything, but it's not always possible. I haven't decided if I'm going to join Vega or not. I've joined far too many of the group buys recently. So the first things we're going to do is we're going to just put some of these housings together. So for those that you don't know, I haven't done this before, you'll see that on the front here there are 2 holes. That's the front of it. On the housing, you'll see that a wire clips in here. That's the front, so you want the 2 holes to go towards the front as you put it together. We're just going to pop those together and hold them in place like that. So I'm just going to get 2 ready, and then once we've got 2 ready, what we're going to do is lubricate the spacebar wire first. So I'm just going to use some dielectric grease for this and a brush, small paintbrush. And what we're going to do is just put a nice coating onto the stabilizer where it's going to sit into the housing and around the corner as well. So what we're doing here is we're just doing the length here, and then we're coming a little bit around the corner, making sure that it's nicely coated on all sides. You don't want to miss any. You don't want to over lube here, so you don't want to put too much on, but it's easy to add more lube later than it is to remove it. So make sure you're not putting too much on that it's going to be sluggish in return or anything like that, but put enough on that it's going to coat the bar. Once that's coated, we're going to take the housing, we're going to push it in at the front, and we're going to aim to go in the bottom hole and then clip into the front of the stabilizer. And then you should see that it moves in and out nicely. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. Okay. And this is just dielectric grease that we're using here, nothing fancy, just standard dielectric grease. Okay, they're both done. And then what we're going to do is we're not going to add any more lube to our brush, we're just going to keep the small amount of lube that's on there, and we're just going to brush lightly on the sides of the slider. So what you can see here is I've just put a very, very thin coat just on the side of the slider there. We're going to flip it over, do the same on the other side. Again, always easier to add more lube later on if you need to, so don't add too much, and then repeat on the other side. Again, we've still got plenty of lube on this brush, we don't need to add any more. This is just for smoothness, you don't want to make it gummy, you don't want to add too much and make it so it's not going to slide evenly or anything like that. A nice, smooth, even coat. We're then going to repeat that process for the other 2 stabs as well. I used Everglide stabs on a build I did for a friend, and I'm jealous. They're pretty nice. They're quite possibly my favourite stabilisers on the market right now, all things considered. I think Zeal stabilisers are probably the best. Sadly, the current view on GMK ones is that they're not particularly good, on my view is. I'm not a huge fan of the C3 ones, although I am excited to try the new C3 ones out as well. So there's lots of changes coming to the C3 stabilisers in the next week or so, in the next group buy, sorry, which is just running right now, I believe. So I'll be joining that group buy to try some of those out. But right now, bang for buck, quality, everything else considered, these are probably my go-to stabilizers. Now, with that being said, I'm sure that the new GMK revised stabilizers, whenever they release those, they will be better. Hoping we hear some more news on those soon. I think it's been a few months since GMK teased them and said they were coming, so it'll be good to see them arrive. Always aim to go in the bottom hole. Jay 2020, good to see you, Brian. Always good to see you on stream. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out Brian's stream with Say Hey Types the other day, the first official episode of Behind the Keyboard. This particular track's really loud, let me turn it down. I haven't watched the whole thing all the way through yet, but the first half that I did watch was really good, so you guys should go check that out as soon as it's posted on YouTube. I think it'll be posted on YouTube today, Brian? Or is it already up? It wasn't when I looked. Okay, now we're going to build the last stabilizer, and then we'll get on from there. I've had the wiper pack once on a board I've been using for maybe 2 months. I haven't had that on this, but I don't change keycap sets very often. Once I put a keycap set on a board, it tends to remain on there until I want it for something else, so that could be anywhere between a week and a year. In fact, I've probably got some boards that have never had the keycaps removed from them since it's built. Again, don't add too much lube here. You just want a nice coating. You don't need to add too much. It's easy to add more later than it is to remove it, so definitely don't over lube here. The C3 group buy is on the Key.company. company. I did ask them if they needed a proxy. They said no. Okay. But I think they've got pretty good shipping rates for the new version of the C3 stabs, and I'm pretty sure that that my keyboard.eu will be running them as well. They ran the last one, so I'd be very surprised if they didn't run the next ones as well. The green on the case is super nice. I have regrets. Yeah, it's been up for a bit. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had a busy day, so I haven't had a chance to look today. But yeah, there we go. So that's the stabilizers lubed. Next thing to do is to put them in the board. So we'll need a screwdriver for that. 5 sets in the car. Yeah, Fatboy Carney, the guy behind GMK Copper, is arranging to proxy me some as well, or I'm proxying him some for his JO2 when that comes. So yeah, interesting. Dielectric grease is what I use on my stabilizers. Yes, 205 grade 0 is kind of overkill in my view for stabilizers. Okay, I'm just going to put these in the board. So we need to use the 7U slot, which is just here. Okay, these do clip in nice and tight. They definitely don't need the add-on boards with these. Clip in lovely and tight. And then we're just going to screw these down. Now when you're screwing into the PCB to hold in your stabilizers like this, you don't want to go overly tight. You're only holding them in place. You're not trying to crush the PCB between the screw and the housing. So don't over tighten them. I have had some people try to return a PCB to me after they've built a board where they'd actually cracked the PCB from screwing in stabilizers. So make sure you don't over tighten. You just want to go finger tight. As soon as you feel a bit of resistance, it's probably good enough. The next one we're going to do is backspace, so we're going to pop this in up here, and then we're just going to clip those in. I think the Key Company has exclusivity deal on the new C3 stabs. Oh, I thought I'd seen them on Ilum KB as well, but my bad if that's the case. No washers needed, as far as I can see. So in terms of washers, the only time to use those is if more than 2 components are touching. So you can see where I'm screwing. If I was putting the screw in here and those 2 components were touching the screw as well, it could create a short. Here there's no risk of shortage. Same here, there's no components around it at all. When we look at the backspace, this side is just fine. That side only touches 1 pin. It's not going to short anything out there. The only one that may be risky is the ISO enter, which we'll take a look at in a second. But even then, I would be surprised if it did need washers. And you can see here, no washers needed because it's not touching any components at all there. Exclusivity deals suck. Well, they can and they can't. I mean, it depends on what it is. So, you know, KBD Fans was the only seller for this particular keyboard. You could call that an exclusivity deal. The JO2 sold between 3 different vendors around the world. You could see that was an exclusivity deal. It all depends, really, and it depends on how long they're exclusive for and how good the product is, and a ton of different things. Overall, I'd say I'm not a huge fan of them, but sometimes in business they're needed. Okay, so we're just going to screw this last one in here. Okay, that's all of our stabilizers input into the board. So the next thing we're going to do is start to introduce some switches to the build. And to do that, it means we need to do 2 things. First thing is introduce the first layer of foam into the board, which is going to sit somewhere around there. And then the next thing we need to do is introduce the plate as well. So I'm going to make sure that the plate sits around all of the gaskets, all of the stabilizers as it should do. And then what we're going to do is put a few switches in place to hold everything together and pin it together. Now these are Zealio's V2 that we'll be using, so we're going to clip them into the plate and then push them into the board. And I'm going to do one in each corner and then plus a couple on the length as well. Okay, try and just make sure everything's lining up nicely. Okay, so the issue here is that the switches don't hold into the case, into the plate very well, into the PCB, sorry, very well. Okay. And that's because these at some point have been clipped to these switches. So at some point these switches, because these are recycled switches, I've removed the legs at some point and used them from a board that didn't support PCB mount switches. So there we go. Once we've got a couple of these in place, we'll solder them and hold everything together, and then we'll go from there. I'm just going to put a couple in the middle here to just try and hold this foam into place as well. And then what we'll do is we'll solder these in position. Interesting. Flexman, thank you very, very much for gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Thank you very much for that. It's a total of 50 in all. Half plate with non-PCB mount switches. Oof, it's all right. Don't worry. There are ways around this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just solder one pin on each of these switches in place, mainly to hold them together. And we are probably going to lose a couple of them here as we flip this over. Okay. So that one in the middle is going to be problematic. Don't worry, we get this. We're going to get this just fine. So, do a switch at a time. I'm just going to do this switch in this corner, just going to solder one pin. And when we solder one pin, we're going to solder the pin that's furthest away from the center of the switch. So when you look at the pins on the switch, you've got two. You've got one that's close to the center here, you've got one that's further out here. We're going to solder this pin. Now, the reason for that is when we're trying to twist to align them, it gives us more movement around that particular point than it does around this particular point, because it's close to the center of gravity. So once this particular one is soldered in place, we will make sure everything's aligned, and then we'll do the switch at the other side. Okay. Okay. That's now held in place there. Then what we'll do is we'll come over to the far side and we'll do our backspace switch. And we'll do exactly the same method. We're just going to solder the pin furthest away from the center of the switch. Which is nicely done. Then what we're going to do is we're going to align the foam underneath. We're then going to solder this particular switch here. We're going to do exactly the same, putting some pressure down on the PCB plate assembly on the switch with our finger as we solder. There we go. So that's those 3 switches held in place. What we can do now is it now gives us the ability to maneuver the foam around as we need to. But the next job is to put some switches into the rest of the plate assembly first. So make sure we've got everything held together in the plate assembly correct, and then we can start to go through with the half plate area. So across the alphas, make sure everything aligns there correctly. Again, thank you very much, Flexman. Thank you very much for that. I hate when PCBs don't support PCB mount switches. Yeah, I can't remember what PCB it was now, but where I took these switches out of, that was the case, and I'd had to clip all of the switches to make sure that everything fit, which wasn't great. I can't recall which board it was, but it's all good. We're going to go step caps because step caps lock is best. If anyone disagrees, well, that's your prerogative, but you're wrong. And we're just going to fill out all of the areas that we can. Make sure everything is nice and even in the plate. And then once we've done this, we'll get back to soldering across the middle of the board. Now we are going to go for split shift here. Okay. So now that's done, we're going to flip this over. We're going to solder those switches in place. Again, just doing one pin on each switch. And just exerting a little bit of pressure with the soldering iron as we push it down, making sure it's all in place, holding it after we've let go of the soldering iron with our finger until the solder is set. And we're just going to do the pin, as I say, that's furthest away from the center of the switch. Okay, and then we're just going to work our way across this top row where we've put some of the switches in. Once we've done these, we'll do a giveaway and give away another game or gift voucher or something. Just going to reflow that solder joint there. Not quite happy with it. Okay. Remember, if you're doing this, guys, and you have non-plate mount switches, always make sure you're soldering the pin furthest away from the center of the switch, because it just gives you a little bit more maneuverability to align switches afterwards. I'll get a text message off my wife. She's sending me a message about matching backpacks. Not kind of the thing I want to be buying right now, but there we go. Okay, so all of those switches are soldered in. Time for another giveaway. What did we talk about? Is the foam just to protect the PCB? It's for sound, apparently, so I'd be interested to see how it goes. Given the fact that it's really soft foam, if I dislike it, I should be able to cut it out and pull it out quite easily. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we do a giveaway then. Let's get another question ready. Let me get another question ready for this. Okay, okay, so the next question that we are going to ask, let me get the answer ready first, guys, the question is, what is the most widely spoken language in Brazil? What is the most widely spoken language in Brazil? If you put the full name into chat, capitalization doesn't matter. Thank you very much, Jack Statics, for the gift sub to Ginity. Thank you very much for that. Put the answer into chat. Capitalizations don't matter. Spelling does. And we're going to give away... What are we going to give away? We're going to give away the game Simply Planes. Whoever wins this. Simply Planes. I think it means aeroplane, flying plane, that kind of plane. Brazilian speaking here. Oh, well, you should get the answer right then. It's just the second word, proxy. That's what we want. 32 eligible users so far. We'll give it another half a minute, and then we'll give this one away. Okay, lots of you entering on this one. 40 of you eligible right now. Okay, let's do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Mr. Petrov. Mr. Petrov, there you go. He is the winner. Nice. So, Mr. Petrov, you will be getting the code for Simply Planes straight after the stream. I will make sure I send that across to you. So there we go, guys. You've seen that Nightbot picks the winner, not me. Nightbot picks the winner. It's completely random. So there we go. The depleted recipe. The question was, what is the most commonly spoken language in Brazil? The answer was Portuguese. Again, as I said, these are going to be really easy questions. I'm doing them more to prevent bot spam and everything else than to make it easy or difficult for people to answer. Okay, so next thing to do is just to fill up the rest of the plate here with switches. Solder these in the same manner as we've been doing, and then once that's done, we can carry on with the rest of the build. Portuguese is the official language from Portugal. Fropsy was right, it's Brazilian Portuguese, yes, but it's still Portuguese. It's like saying that the Americans don't speak English, they speak American English. It would be technically correct, which I'm sure you all love as being the correct type of correct, but English would have been fine if that had been the question. So there we go. Much the same way that, yeah, exactly. James is saying exactly what I just said, so there we go. I'm just here for the chaos. You can cause as much chaos as you like, that's fine. Okay, so what we'll do actually is we'll do it the same way as we did it on the last stream. So Mr. Petrov, you won that particular one, so now what you need to do is you need to give me the question that I'm going to ask next on stream. So for the next giveaway, Mr. Petrov, you need to send me the question, which means that you've got about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to send me the question across so that I know it's there before I have to pick one when you don't give me it. So I shall leave that in your more than capable hands, good sir. I'm just going to move these over to one side. The next thing we need to do is put everything in place for the bottom row. Now I am going to make sure that we get this right by using some keycaps. Always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to this kind of thing. I'm just going to gently rest the switch in place. I'm just going to line up with the stabilizer. Make sure that all fits there from a spacebar perspective, which it does, so that's where the switch needs to go. And then what we need to do as well is just put the 1.5U keycaps in place as well. This is for the wing keyless area. So all I'm doing here, guys, is just making sure I've got the right, it's the wrong profile key, but it's the right tool for the job, so that wants to go on that side just there, and then that should fit perfect. We want to miss 1U here, and then we've got the 1.5U key on this side as well. Then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Just make sure we're aligning everything correctly, just so I don't have to desolder these switches later on because I put them in the wrong spot. We're just going to make sure everything is aligning nicely. Now we've done that and the music stopped. I shall have a look at that in a second. Cool. Okay. Now all those keycaps have been used to measure where we're going to put the switches. We're now going to solder these in place. Again, just doing the one pin, making sure everything's pressed together nice and tightly. Just taking our time with this build. It's going to be a little bit longer than a normal build, but hey, it's worthwhile making sure we've got things spot on. So I'm just going to work my way along the bottom row now, and then we'll go back across the top row. And all I'm doing is just pushing the switches into place whilst I'm keeping the solder hot, making sure that they're nice and held in. Okay, and then we'll double check this bottom row before we solder the top one. Just make sure that everything is nice and flush and even and as good as we can get it. So what we're going to do is just look and check that all the switches are sat against the PCB. This one here isn't, so I'm just going to physically hold the switch and push it into place whilst I solder the pad. Oops. Dropping the soldering iron there, that's dangerous. Okay, so now everything there is looking good from that front edge perspective. You can see all the switches are flush with the PCB. And we can do the top row now. And this is just going to do the alternate switches here, the ones that we didn't do before. Okay. And then we're going to fix the music because I really don't like doing build streams without having the music there. So that's those nicely soldered. Let's see what's happening here. Apparently it's still working, so let's just try and find another channel. There we go, Sunday coffee, there we go. Some unts. Mr. Ben Burns is here, he says, hey Jay, good to catch you live, thank you very much for watching. I wish I had bought the PC half plate for the Polaris. Do show that flex when it's built. I will do. It's looking kind of good. Now comes the hard job. We've missed these keys out because it's a wing keyless build. So now comes the hard job of making sure that we get all of these switches in place and aligned. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start in the center and work my way out, and I'm just going to make sure that the switch is pressed against the PCB. I'm just going to do one switch at a time across the middle row. Again, we're only going to solder one pin, and the reason we're doing that is just so that we can make sure that everything is neat and tidy afterwards. Flip space bar, is it? I just put it on to make sure that it fit. I wasn't using the space bar as flipped or anything like that. 7 new space bars are equidistant apart on the stab mountings and everything else, so it doesn't matter if you use it flipped or not. It's not going to affect the switch. So as I say, we're just working our way across the board here, making sure that everything fits just nicely. As I say, we're just putting the half leg solder. Would never have thought of that. Yeah, so I just literally just solder one pin whenever I'm doing like a board like this or a build like this. I'll just solder one pin, always the one that's furthest away from the center of the switch. That allows me to just make sure that I can align all of the switches first, because these are going to be very wonky when we first look at them. So the process is basically going to be solder these all into position, put the keycaps on, check which ones need aligning, heat up the pin that we've already soldered whilst the keycaps are on there, twist them and align them correctly, and then we'll go through and solder the second pad on each. Is that GMK Ashes mounted? No, GMK Ashes hasn't run yet. It's certainly not shipped yet. This is GMK Honeywell without any of the accent keys. Will we manage to squeeze on a J score or two today? Hopefully, yes. I don't have work tomorrow, so I can stream for a little bit longer if needed. I'm not working again until Tuesday, so we can go a little bit later if needed. Almost there for this particular row. But as I say, this is not going to be neatly aligned when we put keycaps on. It is going to need some work to make sure it's all aligned correctly. But as with anything, you can just take your time on this kind of stuff and you'll get there in the end. Would like to see the IDB run the gauntlet. Yeah, we can definitely do the IDB. It won't take 24 hours to build it. And hey, if we run out of time, guys, we can always stream again tomorrow. And then speaking of streaming again this week, we have got the Lego build coming up. We've got the whole Batmobile Lego thing that I showed at the beginning of the stream to build. Really excited to do that. It was my birthday present to myself, so I'm excited to get on that train and get that built. Just checking that some of these switches are fully pressed into the plate. Okay, so that's one row done. We're now going to again start in the centre, work our way out for the next row. Okay. Next time I'll try not to pick switches that need quite so much work for the build. So that's got a bent pin. Let's just straighten that out. That's got a missing pin. We are not using that switch. Okay. I love Legos. About to buy the Fiat 500 set. Nice. Did you ever build a Millennium Falcon Lego? No, it's still in the box. We've done a couple of giveaways. We've still got plenty more left to do, Van Strom. We've still got plenty more giveaways left to do, don't worry about that. I think we've done 2 so far. We had 9 in total, so we've got 7 more left to go. Okay. Oops. Yeah, it's alright, we've got plenty more left to go. Don't worry about the giveaways. Always wanted to get into Gunpla, but my monies are tied up in this hobby. I've never been into that, to be honest. I do like building things and making things. Mainly cars are my biggest thing, but I like Lego as well. Meccano, all that kind of stuff growing up was I was a big fan of. And now the wife just uses those skills for DIY, which is fine. Okay. The last time I had to do this, guys, was on an IDB 60 build I did for someone, and I had to do this build without any plate whatsoever. But it was effectively a PCB mount board with plate mount switches, and that was a real royal pain to get everything aligned. It took a long time to get that sorted out. Okay. Almost there. We'll do the next giveaway after I finish this row, I think. And then we'll do another giveaway after the soldering is complete. And then we'll see how we get on. There we go. What soldering iron am I using? TS100. Yes, this is a TS100 soldering iron. I've been using the same soldering iron for about 3 years now. It's really good. I'm very big fan of it. I think it's really good. Interchangeable tips, so I can use it for SMD work as well as switches and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just it heats up quickly. It's nice to hold. So it's a good soldering iron. Always a good addition to the toolbox. Okay. Okay, so is that the whole of this row done? It is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go through each one, heat it up, push the switch in, make sure it's nice and level, and that means just the whole thing is flush with the PCB. And then once we've done that, we'll do the bottom row, and then once we've done the bottom row, we can then, so all these little clicks that you can probably hear, guys, this is where they're not quite flush with the PCB. Once we've done the bottom row, we can then put caps on. We can then make sure that everything is aligned correctly. And then once we've made sure that everything is aligned correctly, we can then put the whole case together, get the gaskets in place, do a sound test, potentially get a J-score done if we've got the time. Okay. Once I've just gone through this middle row, just making sure all of these are pressed up against the PCB, that's when we're going to do the next giveaway. So literally just heating the pins up as we're pushing the switches into position, just making sure that they're fully seated against the PCB here. Oops, that switch wasn't soldered properly at all. I'll get this in place in a second. Okay, we'll come back to that one in a second. We'll get that switch fixed up in just 1 second. Okay, almost there now, guys. Just one to fix in the middle. Okay, cool. So that's all of those switches soldered in. They are going to be bent and all over the place. Don't worry about that. We will fix it. Time to do the next giveaway, guys. So let me pick the next question. Okay. The next question is going to be, what is the world's largest land animal? What's the largest animal on land? Everything is set, guys, so once you know the answer you can pop that into chat. But the largest animal on land, and we're going to be trying to go for a $10 Project Keyboard gift card here. It's going to be for a $10 Project Keyboard gift card. It's just a one-word answer, guys. I'm not going in for two-word answers or anything like that. So if you've got 2 words, it's just a one-word answer. Okay, everyone go for this one. What did James say? What did James say? Everyone saw this. What did James say? Has he deleted his answer now? His ex-wife. Fair enough. Okay, it's not the Loch Ness Monster. That's 2 words. Sorry. Technically, wouldn't that be a water-based mammal, or animal, or creature? Don't know. This is the largest land-based animal that we're looking for here. Okay, we're gonna roll it. Oh yeah, it was your turn for a question. We'll do your question next, Mr. P. Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good question. We'll do that next one, Mr. P. Don't worry, we'll do that next. Okay, so let's roll this one first. Let's roll this one first. And the winner is Vogon PT. So Vogon PT, thank you very much. You get a $10 Project Keyboard gift card, and I'll send that over to you after the stream. So there we go. There we go. Okay, now as I said before, these switches are all bent and out of shape. You can see that. Don't worry about it. We will fix it. We've got plenty of opportunity to twist those and get them right. It's not a problem at all that they're out of shape. We're now going to do the bottom row exactly the same way as we've been doing the rest of these. And then we'll do the giveaway with Mr. Petrov's question. Mr. Petrov, don't worry, I haven't forgotten it. It's not a bad question as well, actually. It wasn't the question I was expecting him to ask. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. Congrats, Vogon. Yes, well done, Vogon. You got lucky there. Okay. Slowly making some progress here, guys. This is going to be a long build. I appreciate that. It's going to take a little bit of time and some tweaking, but we'll get there. This makes me worried that I'm going to run out of switches here, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we're going to have a spare one. That's all good and all gravy. Okay. We'll do another one as soon as I've soldered each switch onto this row as well, don't worry guys. We'll use Mr. Petrov's question. Okay. Jay, have you built your Dora 67? No, it still has not been built. Those of you who watch Talk That regularly will know that that board is probably the one I regret buying the most. The group buy was not particularly good fun. The board was not what I was expecting for what I paid for it. That board has sat in its box since the day it arrived and hasn't moved since. It has not been built, it has not been typed on, it has not been looked at in probably over 6 months. Yeah, that is right at the very back of the build queue. Okay. So that's the switches all soldered in, so they're all held in place. I'm just going to run through this row again, making sure that all of these switches are flush with the plate and the PCB where necessary. That little click you can hear, that's where it's just not quite flush, and as I push it down, it's just making sure it's seated nice and neatly. Some of them, like that one, are okay already. And most of these switches are going to need some sort of adjustment, and that's fine. Okay. Also going to just check the ones in the plate as well, make sure that they're all nice and flush as well. And then wherever they're not, we can make sure they're adjusted now to make sure they fit correctly. I'm going to flip this around. Once we've done this, guys, we will then do the next giveaway. Okay. So just pushing the switches fairly firmly, melting the solder, letting the switch reseat itself correctly, letting go of the solder, waiting for it to cool and solidify, and then removing the pressure from the switch at that point. We're almost there now. These little clicks, this is where you can tell it was just a fraction of a millimetre out of place. Okay, there we go. Just got a couple on the front row to do. Okay, there we go. All done. Cool. Pole keyboard. Yeah, the Dora 67 had a lot of problems. The plate was the base was supposed to be brass, PVD, gold-coloured brass. It turned up silver and it turned up scuffed to hell. When I sandblasted the coating off, the PVD coating off, what I found wasn't pure brass underneath. It was kind of a brass-copper mix, which hadn't been mixed correctly, which means it's just a poor show all round. The case itself had an integrated plate, and for the ISO slot on my particular one, around 2 of the stabilizers, the ISO one and the space bar, hadn't been milled correctly, so I'll have to Dremel it to be able to build it. All of these things have just meant that it's not been worthwhile to build. Also want to sell Dora 67, says Huey. Yeah, I'm not going to sell mine, but it's not going to go anywhere either, I don't think. So there we go. Right, okay, so that's all the switches in place. They're not all level, they're not all aligned. Completely appreciate that. We're going to do another giveaway. Once we've done that giveaway, we're going to put the keycaps on the board. We're going to check for which ones are level and which ones aren't. I'm going to hope that the ones in the plate are fine, and we've just got the alpha cluster to worry about. Once that's done, they're all level. We'll then solder the second pins. And then once that's done, we'll then put it all in the case and put the gaskets on and everything else. So still plenty to go, guys, but it is time for another giveaway. I'm just gonna copy the answer for the next question. So the next thing we're going to give away is a game called Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares. And the question from Mr. Petrov is, which Spice Girl is married to David Beckham? Just give the name of the girl itself. So I want to see something like baby, posh, scary, whichever one you think it is. I just want that particular word for it, okay? So, which of the Spice Girls is married to David Beckham? That's all you need to do. Just put the answer in. Just literally want their stage name, whether it be baby, sporty, posh, ginger, whatever the Spice Girls names were. I just literally want the one that's related to David Beckham. Mr. Petrov has also answered with a follow-up question, alternative question, answer to this, whichever the answer to this is in terms of Spice Girls, would you? And his answer was yes, of course. Probably not for this particular one, Mr. Petrov. Okay. So I think quite a few people have entered, 35 people have entered for this. So this is a game called Little Nightmares, again just trying to give you something to do during lockdown and all of that kind of stuff. Mount Everest as talisman, fair enough. Okay, we're going to roll it. We're going to see who wins this particular one. And Seal, well done, congratulations. Seal, you have won. I will send you that gift code after the stream has completed. If you want to either DM me or whisper on here or on Discord or wherever else you can get in touch with me, you can also get in touch with me at j@prototypist.net if you don't want to communicate through either of those, or topclack@gmail.com, either of those email addresses, whichever's easiest for you, and I will get that game code over to you after the stream. So there we go. Seal, Corbin Dallas, Mr. Petrov, and Vogon PT are our winners so far today. So there we go. But the answer was Posh Spice. Yes, Posh Spice. Cool. Okay, so now we've done that. What we're going to do is put some keycaps on here. We're going to look at which switches need aligning, which is going to be most of them, but that's fine. That's the reason why we've only soldered in. Why we've only soldered in 1 pin so far on each one. Some of them might be alright. Some of them might be way off. We shall see. If it gets really, really bad, then and I get really, really frustrated with it, I can't make it look good, which I'm confident we can, then I'll just go with as close as we can get today, and then I'll swap the switches out for something a little bit nicer later. We can already see that the T key is way off. A couple of the others might be as well, but don't worry about it. There is plenty of time for us to fix it. I'm just going to put the keys in I've got here, and then once I've done this and taken the keys off of here, then I will go through the keys that we've got in the rest of the box, get all the modifier keys and everything else. A couple of keys coming up that are way, way off, so appreciate you guys are going to call out and say these keys aren't straight. I know they're not straight. They're not supposed to be straight yet because we've not straightened them. So okay. Almost there now. Getting these particular keycaps on the board, and then we'll straighten them up shortly. That H is miles off. I've only done 1 pin. Yeah, it's going to be miles off. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We can heat them up and straighten them out. That's why we've only soldered 1 pin. It's not a problem. These are plate mount switches on a PCB mount board. So there's going to be some amount of indifference between them. Okay, we shouldn't need any more of these apart from the escape. The rest of these keys shouldn't be needed for this build. So let's get the rest of these put into place. Gonna only bring out the keys that we need. Okay, ISO enter, there we go. Step caps lock. In fact, that we won't need that actually, because we'll have the UK ISO version, I'm sure. Pretty sure this set has that. Okay. Okay, lots of keys we don't need. Got control. Mounting blocks, thank you very, very much for the 222 bits. Angry Alt key, there we go, put that into place. Got the backspace key. Don't need either of those. Don't need any more shift keys, we've got all those. Other Alt key just there. I'm going to use that instead of FN because I like the key. Our final control key for the 7U bottom row that we're using here. Okay. I swear this doesn't have half the keys I remember it having. almost there now, guys. We shouldn't be too much longer getting these keycaps in place. Maybe if we swap it out to FN, we'll decide later on. There we go. Almost there now, guys. Just a couple more keys left. Looks like we're missing a couple of keys in here already. Going to go back through and make sure we've not missed any. Because this set definitely has keys for those two places, so I just need to find them. I must have missed them counting the keys out. Either that or they're in the actual box for it, which if that's the case, if they're actually in the key set box, I shall have to go grab that. Looks like they must still be in the box. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go and grab the original box and get those keycaps out. My favourite posh streamer is Blinks. Nice talisman, nice. Okay. How do I feel about Helios V2? They're okay. They're not bad. They're not bad. Upscale is not superlative though. Okay, let me go grab the other box of keys. It'll be 1 second, guys. There we go. Pop this to one side. And we'll just get the rest of these keys out. So this is where the other keys I'll need are. And there we go. That's one. That's two. There we go. We'll leave that out. And I'm just going to put that to one side. I'll tidy that up later on. We're not going to use any of the accent keys other than the escape. Cool. Okay, no green ISO. There is a green ISO in there, yes. The green ISO is just here. There you go. But I'm not going to use it. I think it looks better without. So that's how we're going to build it. So as you can see, there are some keys that are not straight. There is a lot of keys that are not straight. The whole of the top row looks good. The number row looks good. The Q row looks good up until T. T and Y, U definitely need some work. O and P do too, as do the last two as well. The enters look good, and all down this side looks good. The bottom row doesn't look too bad. So I'm comfortable with those. The Z row actually looks the best. There's just 3 keys just along here that need some adjustment, and then the middle row mostly in the center as well. So it tends to be towards the edges everything's better, but towards the middle things are slightly wrong. So the first one we're going to try and just adjust is the R key. I'm just going to give me the green ISO enter. No. No plate and non-PCB switches. Yeah, it just takes some time to get it right, that's all. Okay, let's see how the R looks. Okay, so now the R's nice and neatly aligned. So next we're going to move on to the T, and we're just going to do exactly the same for the T key. And all I'm doing is I'm holding on to the switch, just twisting it slightly as I'm heating up the pad. So that one's gone too far in the other direction. You can see now, guys, it's gone just a little bit too far. So again, we just need to tweak it slightly. No, still not quite there. I just need a little tiny adjustment. Okay. Okay, so now the T is done. The R is still slightly off, so we're just going to go back and do the R. Just needs to go just a touch. Okay. Okay, so that's all looking good up to the T. Again, I'm just going to slightly tweak the T. T's looking good now. Y looks okay. U just needs a slight tweak. Just trying to get on the... Okay, I just needs... oh, U's gone a bit too far. So we're just literally just going through and just tweaking them as needs be. This can be quite laborious. Ow, that hurt. That was hot. Make sure the solder's fully melted before you, and fully resoldered before you let go of it. Okay. So I'm just going to come and adjust the P. I'm just going to get this close today because it'll take a little bit more faffing around than I want to spend time on stream doing. So I'm just going to get this broadly close enough. And once it's broadly close enough and it's good enough for visual purposes, we'll do the rest off stream. Okay. Okay, so that's the first row, kind of broadly aligned. So it's not perfect, but it's looking a lot better than it was. It's still just a little bit out here, and I think that these keys are throwing it out. If I hide those, it looks a lot neater and a lot better. Again, some slight tweaks needed just to make sure it's perfect. Let's see what you guys are talking about in chat. You'd like to spec it to a certain brand of switch. It could just be Zealio stemming in cows, it might be better than regular Telos. Yeah, absolutely. JMK housings. Not heard of those either. Don't know what JMK are. JWK though is usually what people are referring to. Okay, cool. What is the plate? It's a polycarbonate half plate Fabrirock. So there is no plate in the center of this, which is why it's taking a little bit of time to just adjust the keys. It's just one of those things we have to do because these are plate mount switches in a plate mountless board. Because I like to make things hard. So I'm just going to tidy up the ones that are way off. Okay, H now. This is probably one of the worst keys. Almost there. Almost there. Not a million miles away there. Still not quite there. Oh gosh. Okay, this one's taking a little bit longer to get level than I would have thought. Okay, not too bad. Going to do the G key now. And of course, if this goes really horribly wrong and it doesn't work out at all, then I'll just change these switches in a couple of weeks' time. Oops. Okay, F key now. Okay, G key's still a little bit out, so I'm just going to go back and fix the G key. Okay, broadly looking okay now. I'm just going to come up to this side and do this key here. Okay, so not perfect, but it's looking much neater now. So a little bit of time more to spend on that. A couple of keys. The G key is particularly slightly frustrating me, as is the F key. The D key probably needs a little bit of work as well. We haven't adjusted this one yet. Let's just try and do that one now. Looking a little bit better. Looking a little bit better. Card works well to keep them. I don't like doing that. I don't like putting a card in. I prefer to do it hand and get it looking neat and tidy that way. The challenge I find if you put a card in is that once you move down the different rows, you actually then need to change the switch heights as well. So I much prefer to do it by eye and adjust them. It takes a little bit longer, but hey, it's worthwhile doing it in my view. So I can go ahead and tweak these a little bit more off stream anyway. Even if we solder the other pins in, I can quite easily just tweak these. And you know what, if I decide to go back to linear switches, well, I'll just have to make sure that I use PCB mount switches going forwards. But I'm pretty comfortable with that. It's not a million miles away, needs a slight bit of work. A couple of the switches are frustrating me a little bit. But other than that, I think it's okay for now. I've certainly seen a lot worse. So one of the things I wanted to show to you guys as well is just how much flex there is in this board. So if I just hold it here like this and I just push there, I don't know if you can see just how much that's flexing. If I show you that, you should be able to see just how much that's flexing and how much it can flex. So this is going to be a really interesting typing experience. There's going to be a lot of bounce to it. Cool. Sounds tedious. It's one of those things. It was one of those things. Some people use folded playing cards to line the switches for half play bills. Yeah, I don't like doing that. Some people also use pasta in there. I've seen people use pasta strips. Pasta is a bit of premium right now, so I don't want to use that. I like to just do it by eye. Sometimes it's kind of nice and relaxing to do it. So these were previously clipped J-Creps to fit into another build. So I can't remember which keyboard they came out of, but whatever keyboard they were in, I must have clipped them to fit it into that particular board. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take the board apart. We're just going to make sure we've got the right bit here for these hex keys. There we go. And then once we've taken the board apart, we'll be able to fit the gaskets and do everything else. Once the board's taken apart as well, we'll take a look at the next giveaway. We'll do another giveaway. Is that a thinner PCB or is that flex just from the cut? It's a bit of both. Got to take the weight off too. Yeah, I believe I read that in the guide earlier when I was flicking through it. The weight isn't fully attached in this particular board anyway. It was shipped with the weight slightly loose. I don't know if that was by design or if that's an issue in QC, or if it's the weight itself that doesn't quite fit, but we shall definitely take a look and see. Okay. Should hopefully get my bubble wrap and box so I can get my Polaris sent your way soon. Nice. Who are you sending your Polaris to, Zealio? Me? Is it me it's coming to? Or is it going to someone else? What PCB is this? This is the PCB that comes with the board, Guatemala. You're almost at 69,420 views. Nice. Nice. Need to just step up a size for the next bolts. Okay, so that was definitely not screwed in tight. So that would have been why we had the rattling. Yeah, me. Okay, fine. Yeah, you can send it to me. I'll build it for you. That's not a problem. Just make sure they're PCB mount switches if you've got a half plate. I did not check these switches before I decided to put them in this build. Okay. So there we go. So that's the weight off. We'll take a look at that in a second. Take out the last two screws here. Okay. Okay, and then the board comes apart like so. So, 3-piece case. Pretty nicely put together. All looks rather good. This here, here, and here, and then again at the front. That's where we're going to mount the gaskets to. We'll come back to that in a second. Let me just read through the document, make sure I'm not missing anything in terms of the gasket mounting. But I'm pretty sure you don't have to apply them to the plate, and you can apply them to the case as well. I'm just going to read through. Okay, so. Install these gaskets on the top in the case top area where the plate tabs overlap. Yeah, so we're going to put these into the case instead. We're going to put the gaskets into the case. And these go above and below the plate. So we're just going to peel these off, nice and simply. We're just going to apply them into the area where they need to go. Okay, these are a bit fiddly. There we go. Peel that out. And then we're just going to push these into the gaps that they're designed for. Okay. And then once we've done these, we'll definitely get that next giveaway going. Trying to make sure that these are aligned flush. Could do with a little jig to put these in place, maybe. Oh, interesting. Was onto the plate. Recommended to do it before soldering. Yeah. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I might change the plate myself. So I do have a carbon fiber plate identical to the one that's in this build on the way, and I just want to make sure that I can use that build and swap builds out. If I put these onto the plate, I won't be able to do that. So I definitely don't want to be putting these onto the plate itself, because then I'll have to buy more gaskets or find an alternative way of mounting them. So that's why I'm installing them directly onto the case. This way the feel should be identical, because you've still got the same amount of foam between the case and the plate, and it's in the same areas. It's just flipped the fact of which layer it's stuck to. Didn't realise it was doable this way. Yeah, no reason why not. Okay, last one, and then we can move on to the base and do the same on the base. Okay, so that's those all in place there. We're just going to rest the plate in, make sure that the plate then lays on the gaskets properly. Okay, so that's touching the gaskets properly from that perspective, so that's all good. Move that to one side, and then we can come back and look at the base. So on the base, we're going to put them on the raised profiles here, which are the tabs that this board then sits on. Just in time for the typing test. Yeah, we'll be a few minutes away from the typing test. We've still got the other legs to solder on the PCB, and then a test to do. I'm just doing this before we do the next giveaway. Make sure we're all nice and prepped. Okay. Couple more to go. What temperature do I solder at? 320 degrees for switches usually. For my particular solder I use Kester solder, that's the temperature they recommend. So that's the temperature I use. Other solders may vary, so it entirely depends on what temperature your solder melts at as to which temperature you should use, but that's usually around the case. Okay, place small gaskets horizontally at roughly the points indicated on the inner wall of the case. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is put these small gaskets in place on the inner side of the top case. So let's take a look at that. So I'm just going to flip that over. That's going to rest on those gaskets just there like so. And then I need to take this and put some of these small gaskets in place. So these should be installed at plate height on the center band, flush to the lower edge as shown. Okay. There's quite a few of these, so I'm just going to take these one at a time and copy the diagram in the build guide. Okay, is there a picture of how these should be on? Oh, okay, so these go on the horizontal axis. Okay, I got this. There we go. So we're just installing these on the case as per the indicated guidelines. 2 more to go. Okay. These are a little tricky. Ease of build, yeah. I don't think this is particularly difficult. The hardest part about this build is because I chose to use PCB mount switches on a plateless build. That's the hardest part about it. Okay, cool. So there we go. That's pretty much the build done. Cool. So the only thing we didn't do, which is in the guide, was we didn't use the snapping shims. We didn't need to do it for this particular build, so we're all good from that perspective. We just need to pop some feet on the base, and then we can screw the board together. And do you know what? I'm probably not going to solder the other pins there, just because it is easier to change them and realign them later on. But I'm definitely keen to have this as a tactile build rather than as a linear build. So we'll do that off stream, fix them all up, and get them looking good. Okay, there's one in there. Okay, and then last one. Okay, we can now solder the board, screw the board together. I'm just going to go diametrically opposed for my screws. There we go. We're not going to over tighten these, we're just going to tighten these just until we feel a bit of resistance. So it's nipping the gaskets tight together but not fully tight together. Oh wait, we didn't put the foam back in the base. Let's do the foam in the base first. Let's quickly remove these 2 screws and then put the foam back in the base. Preferred tightening methods, yes. Yeah, thank you, right trap, yes. You don't have to use the foam. I tend not to like putting foam in any build. My view is if I have to use foam, I've probably done something wrong with the build as a whole. This build is more dedicated to using it because it's designed to have the foam there. That's why it was all included as part of the kit. So I'm okay using it in this particular circumstance, but normally I would feel like I had failed the build process if I had to use some foam in a board. Make sure that's all aligned, slightly off in terms of its cuts, but it's okay. There we go. Again, just going to screw this screw in 2/3 tight. When we come over to this top corner, this one we're going to go up until we feel resistance from the gaskets. And then when we feel that resistance from the gaskets, we'll come back, tighten this one up again a little bit more. And then we'll go through the rest of the board. There we go. How do I like half plates? I haven't done one yet. I kind of like half plates. They're all right. I prefer them on larger boards to smaller boards. I prefer a half plate on a TKL to on a 60%. Is my current view. This may change that, but we shall see. Oops. Okay, I'm going to do the 2 screws just along here now. Okay. Last screw to hold the two pieces of the case together, and then we can screw the weight on. And we just need to change the bit for this one because these are slightly different size screw. Again, not going overly tight, just going finger tight on these, just enough to hold the brass weight in place and not allow it to move around. Okay, last one. Okay, that was definitely not screwed in properly when it got shipped. It feels much better now we've retightened it. So there we go. Green looks properly British. It does, right? So a couple of things I notice is that I do need to lighten off the load and just slide the plate across. I'm probably not going to be able to do it now, but I do need to just unscrew this a little bit. So I'm going to take the weight off again, just to make sure we've got the plate aligned in the case correctly. Why does foam represent failure but gaskets are okay? It seems a bit of artificial difference, my dude. No, gaskets are a mounting method. Foam is to flood a gap or to fill a gap. I don't use foams to fill a gap in the case. I don't think there's a conflict at all there. I think gaskets are very much a mounting method. We're not mounting on foam. I think the gaskets are fine, but putting foam between the plate and the PCB seems to me to generally be a bit disingenuous to the design and build process. But if the board is designed to be silent, then I completely understand it, completely get it. So I'm just going to undo these half tight. I'm going to undo all of the screws about halfway. Just take the pressure off of the PCB plate assembly. And then we should be able to just slide it enough on the inside of the case to make sure that we can align everything up correctly. I don't know. I just don't. It's more when it's aftermarket, Mr. Petrov. If it's, I wouldn't add a gasket to a board that hadn't been designed designed to have it. You know, I wouldn't add a gasket to a board that was very much supposed to be a top mount board, personally. Okay, so we're just going to align everything up here, make sure our gaps are nice and even. Bearing in mind that we know we've got some switches that are not straight. Okay, so that's looking much better there. So now we've done that, we're just going to tighten these back up. Yeah, I wouldn't take a board that was, say, top mount, or remove the top mounting and add gaskets to it. That just feels a bit disingenuous. And it's the same if a board hasn't been designed for foams. I wouldn't want to add foams later on, because to me that feels like it's not the way the designer intended the board to be. Now, this particular board was designed to have the foams in place, which is why I've used them. You know, it's to each their own. Different folks have different views on it. That's like saying lubing switches and stabs is bad. No, I don't think so. I think it's completely different. I think it's a completely different view. But that's why this hobby's good, because everyone can have a different view and we can all be right. No, but the designer doesn't always design the board for everybody else. I mean, the designer designs the board for themselves usually. I just feel like my view on sound and feel. So you're lubing switches for feel. Feel, absolutely, I can completely understand why you would put stuff in there for feel. Sound to me is very different. I feel like I haven't done the board justice if I can't make the board sound good without adding foam, because all that foam does is quieten the board down. It doesn't change any other aspect. It makes the board quieter and it makes the switches sound duller. That's what it's doing. It's not highlighting the switch sound or the plate sound or anything like that, which is the whole idea behind building a board for me. And when I design a board from the ground up, like the J01, the J02, it's designed to sound good first. Now, for putting foam in boards, what it does is it stops that bottom out sound being loud. It makes the board quieter. Now, if you want a quiet board, that's great, but that's why we have silent switches and all that as well. Now, my view is that I shouldn't be building a board to make it quiet after I built it. If it's going to be a loud board, it's going to be a loud board. It all depends on the materials and everything else used as well. But, you know, changing something that wasn't designed to have it at the end. Switches are designed to have loop or not have loop. You can argue that either way. A lot of switches come factory loop, so adding different loops or changing the loop to your preference is fine, but most boards don't come with foam inside them, and to me it just feels like if I have to do that, I haven't met the designer's ambition of how the board should sound, because I've failed in the build somehow. So that's just my personal view on it. I just, the other side of it as well, to that point, is I wouldn't ever want a board to be silent. To me, part of that is, to me, part of the charm of mechanical keyboards is having that sound. Having a silent board doesn't kind of fit a niche for me. And that's a personal thing. Everyone's entitled to have a difference of opinion on that. There's no right or wrong answers here. It depends. It depends. So it's not that I want it to be always close to the designer's preference, but the designer has a goal on how they want the board to sound and how they want the board to feel. This particular board is designed with foams in place and gaskets in place, so it should feel nice and soft to type on. It should have a soft typing feel, and it should have a very muted sound. It should never be a loud board. That's kind of the designer's vision for it. Now, there's some things I disagree with designers' visions in terms of should plate files be available, things like that. You know, people want fixed files for different layouts and all of that kind of stuff. That's kind of by the by, and I think that's a very different thing. But in terms of the actual sound and feel of a board, absolutely, I think I should try and hit the designer's vision. Missed the alignment part. I just literally undid half of the screws so that they were half tight. That allowed the top and the bottom still remain connected, and I could slide it around, and then I could tighten it down. Just the designer doesn't always get it right. If someone finds a mod which improves the board, well, fine. I mean, that's fine. That's why we all have difference of opinions. I'm not wrong just because you guys don't agree with me. You guys aren't wrong just because I don't agree with you. That's fine. We can all have different opinions. But if I can't build a board without putting foams in, because foams to me do one big thing. They detract from the sound of the board. They take away some key characteristics of whatever typing sound the board's going to have from the plate and the switches. And I don't want to take away from that. That's not something I want to remove or adjust in any way. If I can't get it to sound good by how I've mounted the plate into the board and the plate I've used, then I kind of feel adding foam is trying to hide a problem. It's like lifting up the rug and sweeping the rubbish underneath the rug and putting it back down. That's how it feels to me, unless the board's been designed around foams. Now, people can feel completely different. You can all have your own preference on this. You can think I'm wrong, you can think I'm right. It doesn't matter. You know, this is the whole beauty of this hobby, that we can have differences of opinion and still remain friends throughout things like this. So I just don't like to be able to, it's like, that's a very quiet board, a very quiet board. Dungeon Graphs, good point. Yeah, I think it's easier to follow the designer vision and find the joy in that if you have dozens of keyboards and you're not trying to build a one board for you. Absolutely agree, don't disagree. You know, my collection's in the triple figures now, so absolutely no reason why I wouldn't have to do anything else. Sounded pretty nice though through stream though. It's very, very quiet. For comparison, inks, let me just type somewhere that it's not going to matter. That's inks. This is Zealio's V2. There's next to no sound coming out of it. To me, that just sounds dull and flat and quiet and a bit boring. There's no character to the sound. It'd be a great office board. It'd be a great office board. I think the design of the board is absolutely stunning. I think the feel of the board is absolutely stunning. For me, I think I don't like having the foams in there. Don't like having the foams in there. Yeah, it has a lot of flexibility though. You should be able to see this. You guys see the H key. If you watch the H key as I'm pressing there, the whole HG key moves. If I press there, if I press here, you can see how the B key moves. So there's plenty of flexibility in the build. It shouldn't be shorting the PCB at all, because there's plenty of space under there. There's plenty of space because that foam was quite thick, and it didn't feel like I was having to over tighten the keyboard to get it there. I'm going to take out that bottom foam because I think that is affecting the sound. Let's see if it makes it a little bit nicer for me. So Thoki, guys, you guys are hearing this with my microphone turned right up. If I put this to normal audio levels, there's barely any sound. I can barely hear it. It sounds the same as Helio's. It sounds very similar to Helio's. The colour's lovely though. Yes, the colour's absolutely divine. It is really, really, really quiet. So new switch mode is to hype with headphones on and mic gain up super high. Yeah, I mean the mic is turned on really, really high, so I'm speaking quite quietly. The music in the background's on really quiet. It's just nice for me to hear, but you guys have got it amplified. Let's see if we can actually see how much we have to undo this to be able to remove this through the gap. We're going to have to do it all the way, I think. Okay. Is that going to budge? No. Yeah, we're going to have to take it off all the way. But I didn't feel like I was compressing the foam at the end when I was tightening the case down, so I don't think there's a ton of room under there, but I think there's plenty for the board itself. Can we get a Polaris and TKL? That'd be good. Those Zealios sound like Gator and Inks. Well, they don't because that's Gator and Inks. This is Zealios. They sound very different. I appreciate it's a different board, so the sound's going to be very different anyway. But yeah, I don't want a board to sound quiet personally. I want a board to have some life and some character to it. Having a board too quiet, I'm not a fan of that. But that's just my preference. And it's okay to have differences of preference and opinion. In terms of feel and sound, how does this tab gasket mount differ from the gummy worm gasket mount differ? So in terms of feel, I think this is a better gasket implementation solution than using an O-ring, which I assume is what you mean by gummy worm mount. I think this feels better. So O-rings I'm not a huge fan of as gaskets. I think that there is much better implementations to use. O-rings were the original gasket, and there's no taking away from that. But you know, for a modern board, there are many other ways to implement gasket solutions now. Again, not going to tighten this all the way. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of breathing room when it comes to the aligning the case in a second. Just going to do these two screws 2/3 tight. I'm going to flip it over, just make sure everything's still nice and neatly aligned. Okay, that's looking okay. Tighten these two screws down until we feel some resistance from the gaskets. Okay. Mr. Petrov gifted a tier 1 sub to Villain. Thank you very much, Mr. Petrov, for doing that. Office keyboards around here need to be silent. Yeah, in my office tends not to be the case, and of course I'm working from home a lot more now anyway. But I use a JR1 in the office, so which sounds almost identical to that one. Okay. see how much of a difference this makes to the sound of this particular board. I have good feelings about how it might sound without that bottom foam in. Okay. Okay, that's all feeling good. Put the weight back in. Change over bit size again. Screw these in place, and then we'll have another test of the sound. But yeah, real life with the bottom foam in, it was very, very dull and quiet. Sounded very similar to Helio's. Let's see if that makes a big difference. Okay, that feels instantly more flexible. That's definitely a nicer typing experience. It's still very, very quiet. But it's definitely a nicer typing experience now. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I don't know if you guys can see, but there is a lot of flexibility there. As I'm typing, the whole row is moving. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but okay, I think I prefer it like this. Definitely from a type and feel perspective. It's a very, very quiet board. Let me turn the music off. Let's see if you guys can hear this. So. Okay, so it's very, very, very quiet. The spacebar sounds great. But anything where it starts to encroach from where the foams are, and all you're really hearing is the sound of the switches moving up and down. There's definitely no bottom, or very little bottom out noise on the switches. It's a much nicer typing experience without a foam in the bottom. There is a lot more flexibility. I'm not sure how I can show you guys, but it is actually bouncing up and down an awful lot here. As I'm just typing away here, there's definitely a lot of bounce to it. Don't know if you guys can see that. Let's try and zoom in a little bit and see if you guys can see. So if I just I don't know how well that's going to transpose onto camera, but there is an awful lot of bounce in the keyboard. That's much nicer typing experience. I'm hoping you guys can see that. But there you go. That's really flexible. That's nearly as flexible as the IDB60. The IDB60 has more, but that's pretty damn flexible. There's a lot of movement there, and the harder you press, the more it moves. It's really bouncy. If you look just along this edge here, you can really see just how much that's moving. So the typing feel is really interesting. I really like the way it feels. I do not like the way it sounds. I'm not a fan of the sound at the minute. Now that could be these switches. The tactile feel feels great. The flexibility may be reducing, and the flexibility with the bump might be reducing some of the sound. I think I'm probably going to end up rebuilding this with a linear switch anyway. But just to give you an idea of how quiet that is compared to another board. So yeah, it does sound really mushy. This is a polycarbonate half plate. Now it feels great, but I'm not convinced for the foam. I think it sounds better without this foam in the bottom. Definitely sounds better. Let's zoom back out. Okay, so it definitely sounds better without this foam in the bottom. That's an absolute fact. It definitely sounds better for me personally. You guys might like it with, you might like it without. I'd be interested to see how it sounds if I rebuild this without putting the plate foam in as well. Now I don't want to cut it out and damage it because that would be a shame, but I feel like that just mutes the sound too much for me. But the feel is exceptional. The feel is, it's quite possibly one of the nicest feeling keyboards I've ever typed on. Changing it to a carbon plate will be much louder. Yes, it will. Yes, agree. Yeah, okay. It is gasket, has foam, and is super flexible, so I believe it's not designed for boards but out to guess. Exactly, it's not. It's designed to be quiet, and that's kind of the point behind it. It's designed to be a quiet board, like, you know, that's how it was designed. I think for me personally, I think it feels exceptionally good. I'm probably going to take out the foam, change the switches, and see how it sounds then. If I'm still not happy with that, I'll try putting the foam back in and doing it that way. But I'm probably going to change the switches on this, so there might be another build stream soon. Other than that, I do think it looks stunning as well, just in terms of the design. The board is absolutely stunning to look at. The colour is amazing. It's quite possibly one of the nicest colours I've seen in keyboards. We don't have enough green boards out there, and this is an exceptional green. With the brass, it looks kind of like the Lotus liveries of the 1970s and 80s, if you guys remember those. As a keyboard itself, it's absolutely stunning. Really, really, really happy with the keyboard itself. Definitely need to rebuild this. I think the key set works really well. I think I've picked a good key set for it. I think that looks really good. So yeah, I'm going to change the switches and rebuild that and see how that goes. The sound is the only thing that I'm not happy with on this board at the minute. So there we go. That's that. I just realised we've been streaming for 2.5 hours, and it's been nearly an hour since we did a giveaway as well. So let's give away a couple of things in quick succession. So the next giveaway is going to be for Dark Souls 3 and the Ashes of Arundel DLC as well. So we're going to give away both of these together. So let me get a question ready. Okay. Okay, so I've got another question. So I'm going to ask this question in a second. Let me get it ready for you. Okay, so the question is, what do birds lay? What do birds lay? And we're going to give away Dark Souls 3 and one of the DLCs as well. So you need to put down, what do birds lay? I want the plural of the word. Mr. Petrov, behave. I'm going to give away, as I say, a whole game and its DLC as well for this one. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to put in there as well. I'm really, really excited by the feel of this. This feels great. If I can get this to sound good as well, I'll be a very, very happy boy. So I'm going to work on that. I think maybe I'll do this as build stream next week as well. Maybe Polaris will feature on the stream 2 weeks on the trot, and I'll just desolder it in between and rebuild it, because I really want to use this board a lot. Yes, the question is, what gets laid by birds? The winner of this particular giveaway is going to get Dark Souls 3 and the Ashes of Arundel as well, or Arandiel, however you pronounce it. Okay, I'm going to give this away now. There's 48 eligible users, so I'm going to give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Drug Bucket, what a great username. Drug Bucket, you are the winner of that game. If you reach out to me on Discord, if you know how to there, or if you whisper at me on Twitch, I will make sure that you get those 2 codes as well. So Drug Bucket, do reach out to me. I won't be reaching out to you. You have to come and reach out to me to get the codes. But yeah, Drug Bucket, you are the winner. He entered, but he hasn't replied since. But yeah, Drug Bucket, there we go. Okay, let's give away another one as well. So let's give away a Dixie Mac gift card. So this is a $10 gift card for Dixie Mac. Let me get... me get another question ready. Okay, so I've got an answer here. So the next one is give me the name of a shape that has 3 sides. So the name of a shape that has 3 sides. Obama's Bahama, the bot did not spell your username wrong. It was Drug Bucket who won the last 2. But yes, name of a shape with 3 sides. And as I say, we're going to give away a $10 Dixie Mex gift card here. No, it has exactly 3 sides, Duckcom. Not at least 3 sides. It has exactly 3 sides. James's ex-wife. Okay, 64 eligible users here. People want this Dixie Mex gift card. Across how many dimensions? Imagine it's a flat plane, Mr. Petrov. Okay. Okay, I'm going to roll this one now. Okay, so give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and give away. Lord Birthday Suit, you are the winner of the $10 Dixie Mex gift card. Either whisper to me on Twitch or reach out on Discord, and I will make sure you get that as well. I am almost out of time. It's been 2.5 hours, so I'm not gonna. We're gonna have to do a J-score catch up at some point to try and bring some boards back into the thing of it. Let's do one more giveaway. Okay, so the next one we're going to give away is Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. That's the next giveaway that we're going to do. Let me find a good question for this one. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to find a good. Okay. Here's a good one. Okay. This should be fairly common knowledge, but it's going to be a little bit harder. Okay, so the question is, and so for the answer it's going to be a number, but I want you to type the word of the number out. I don't want the actual number, I want the word of the number. So if it's 1, I want you to go O-N-E, okay? So if it was 42, it'd be F-O-R-T-Y-T-W-O, okay? But the question I'm going to ask you is, how many gold medals did Carl Lewis win at the 1984 Olympic Games? How many gold medals did Carl Lewis win at the 1984 Olympic Games? And I want you to write the word out. Drug Bucket, who do I message on Discord to get my prize again? Me, Jay. If you go to the top right Discord, you can reach it down below. Then you just look on the top right, you will see my name, you can click on it and you can email me there. So the question is, how many gold medals did Carl Lewis win at the 1984 Olympic Games? I want you to type the word out, not just put the number. And this is for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. So if you want Deus Ex, if you want to be able to play that game, I've got a code for it. You just need to put the answer in there. I want you to type the word out, not put the number in. So if you think the answer is 4, as many people do, you need to type F-O-U-R, not put the number 4 in. Okay. They tested him retroactively and he was a drug cheat. Well, that was massive, whether he was if that happened. I don't know if that's true or not. Okay, there's 43 eligible users right now, so keep going. That's up to Obama's Bahama. Insert 10. How many gold medals do you have, Mr. Petrov? Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, 46 eligible users. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, let's roll this one in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the winner of Deus Ex is Kawaii Potatoes, following since May the 11th, 2019. So thank you very, very much for that. I shall put you down next to that game. Okay, last one that we're going to give away. We're going to do one more. This is for a game called A Hat in Time. There's going to be no question here for it. It's just going to be active users. So anyone who's typed in chat in the past 4 or 5 minutes is going to be included. 5 minutes, let me increase that. So anyone who's typed in chat in the past 10 minutes is going to be included for this last giveaway, which is called a game called A Hat in Time. So we're just going to roll this one and give it away straight away. So the winner for this one is Blabubula123. Blabubula 123. I'm going to go with that. So there we go. So if you guys want to reach out to me on Discord or on Twitch, if you whisper to me on Twitch, I'll make sure you get the codes. So Mr. Petrov won Simple Planes, Corbin Dallas won Tales of Berseria, A Hat in Time was won by Bubbler123. Little Nightmare was won by Seal. Kaiwai Potatoes won Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Drug Bucket won Dark Souls 3 with an extra DLC as well with it. Vogon PT won the $10 Project Keyboard gift card, and Lord Birthday Suit won the $10 Dixie Mecta gift card as well. So there we go. Lots of lots of giveaways. Yeah, sorry for them. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I hope I didn't offend you or anyone else with my pronunciations of them. Okay, so in terms of upcoming streams, we are going to probably rebuild this next Sunday and put some linear switches in there. I really do enjoy the typing feel. I think the board looks amazing. It's a perfect colour. I just want to make it sound good to me. So that's going to be next week's build. In between that, we are going to be doing the Lego Batmobile build during the week at some point. So I'm probably going to start that maybe Tuesday late on, 10-11 PM UK time, and we'll see how that goes as well. In terms of other streams coming up, Brian has got some build streams as well. I'm not sure if he's still watching, but he has got some I could watch 2 hours of Jay saying that, but he has got some build streams coming up, so do take time to check out for when those are. Also go and watch the first episode of Behind the Keyboard with Tahir Types, Mr. Nathan Kim himself, on YouTube or Twitch. The video should be up there for as well. We do need to do a J-Score stream tomorrow. There's a few boards behind now. I think we've got 3 boards I need to get up there. Perhaps I'll do a quick J-Score roundup when we do the Lego build. The first half an hour of it, we'll do a quick J-Score roundup of the last 3 boards that we built that didn't make it onto the J-Score sheet. I think the last one we did get on there was a Jane CEV2, so I think we've got 2 boards to put on there. Let me just show you the J-Score screen. So we've got the last 2 to do. So we've got the IDB Steel Edition and the Polaris, so we do need to J-Score those. So we'll go through those when we can. Again, probably just timed out on that one particular aspect this week, but we'll catch up, not to worry. And next stream as well, we'll have some more giveaway codes as well. So I'm thinking about doing a really big Steam giveaway. Maybe do like $100 gift card or something like that. Shouldn't the Polaris wait until you rebuild it? Yes, that's true. We should probably wait until we rebuild it. I want it to at least be something I'm comfortable with J-scoring, so perhaps we'll just do the IDB Steel Edition when we do the Lego build stream during the week, and then at the end of the next week, a week today, when we do the Polaris rebuild, then we'll do the J-score for it then. I'll make sure. So that should be a much faster build, because I'll be able to just take these switches out in the middle of the week, get the other switches ready, and they will be PCB mounts, so they'll go straight in and should be nice and tight and flush. That shouldn't take me too long to do. Okay, if you've got any questions to ask before the end of the stream, now is the time to ask them, guys. There will be some giveaways again in the Lego build stream. You can get the J-score just by doing !J-score in chat. There you go. That should bring up the link. There you go. How to be cool like you. I'm not cool at all. I'm a 35-year-old self-confessed nerd geek who likes geeky things. So yeah, not cool at all particularly. So there you go. You can get onto the J-score from there. That Polaris would look great as a 40%, and let's call it Equinox. It's very similar to the Equinox, yes. What are your Desert Island switches and keyboard? Probably Gateron Inks, and I'm going to say the JO1 just because it's something that was designed for me and my workflow, and it's a board that I love truly and dearly. So we go. Does it feel like the Profit 60%? No, the Profit feels very different to this. This has got way more movement to it than the Profit does. The Profit arguably sounds better to me though. So I'm definitely waiting for the Profit's up on the wall here somewhere. I'm definitely waiting for the next Profit round because I want to get another one as well. Did I join the Key 65 group buy? I didn't know. I have not joined that one. I have joined a few group buys this month. That was not one of the ones that I joined. Did I ever do infill on stream? Yes, I did a Space 65 for Novel Keys. So Mike from Novel Keys, I built his personal Space 65 on stream probably about a year ago now. So you can go and check out that stream on YouTube. I think if you search Top Clack Space 65, you should be able to find it. But I did infill on the base of that board live on stream. I think I also did the Prophet on stream as well, but I can't recall. And then originally on my old J Keeps channel before I joined Top Clack, I did do an Alice, the TGR logo on the front of the Alice. I did that as well. Are there any 75% or TKL boards under 300? You're probably best off asking that on the Discord server. There probably are, but it would take me a while to dig them out. KBD 8 times for a TKL jumps to mind. KBD 75 for the 75% jumps to mind as well. So I'd definitely check those out by speaking to people in the Discord, and you can join below. You're going to get the 7V, I'm debating, as it's no ISO. I'm probably not going to get the 7V. 75%, I think I've hit endgame on 75% with the Satisfaction 75, so I'm probably not going to buy a 7V. Yeah, I'm probably not going to buy that. I'm just trying to think if there's any other boards coming that I am going to pick up. I haven't seen the ID80. Yeah, I have. I think it looks like a great option for a budget board. I don't think it's personally for me. I think it'll be absolutely great for a lot of people who've just joined the hobby, and people who want that kind of board and that kind of layout, but it's probably not something that I'd personally want, Alansky. JR80s, I want the new one, Mr. Petrov. I've got one of the old ones. I've got one of the round one ones on the wall over here somewhere. In fact, I know it's downstairs in the kitchen because the wife's using it. But I would absolutely love one of the new ones. I would absolutely love one of the new ones. Space 65 V2. I've got a Space 65. I'm not a massive fan of the board itself in terms of the layout. I get caught on the side bezels a lot in some ways, which I don't even on the Exent. I think it's just something visual to me, but I absolutely love and adore the way that board sounds. So that board sounds really, really good. So I probably, although I don't use it very often, it's just over there on the wall. It is a really good board. It's a Space 65 V2. Yeah, I think that'll do well. Leaning more towards the Evolve. The Evolve looks stunning. Yeah, I think the Evolve is going to do really, really well in group buy. I think it's going to be incredibly expensive. I think it's going to look phenomenal. I can't wait until I get a chance to build one. Whether I have to buy one to do that or not, I don't know, but I probably will end up buying one of those. Flexman says why 65s? I assume you mean why the 65%. I kind of like a 65%. 65% is good. Gives you arrows as well as a kind of like macro column for the right hand side. I could ask you the same question and say, why did we do the Lodestone in 65s? Speaking of which, Lodestone prototype should be with me next week. They are sat in customs at the moment in the UK. As soon as I get the Lodestone customs in place, I will be taking some pictures, and that will go straight to the top of the build queue. I think I am waiting for some other parts. I'm still waiting for the plates for those, for the Lodestone, so the actual boards might arrive before the plates, but as soon as all the plates are here, that goes straight to the top of the build stream. I've got all of the magnets and everything else needed for that as well. And Flexerman and I have actually been 3D printing some prototypes. In fact, let me show you these really quick, guys. Whoops. So I've been 3D printing some prototype cases for the Pebble, which is the I don't know if Flexman's going to kill me for showing these or not, but these are the numpad to go with the Lodestone. So we've just been testing this out. So I've got kind of like a plate, the case, all of the different mounting points, so you guys can see that's got all of the different mounting points in there for the case, and this is going to be the numpad, and then that's how the base is going to look. These are quite rough, they need tidying up. They're fresh off the 3D printer the other day, and then that's kind of the profile you're going to get, and the shape. This was printed in a slightly different way, but there you go. So there we go. But yes, printed those off, so they're going to make their way over to Flexman in the next couple of days for them to have a go. Some more questions have come in. They think about 1K for the Evolve. Yeah, it sounds about right. I was expecting 900 plus, so that sounds about right. Mr. Petrov says, what's your favourite sounding row for GMK keycaps? Usually, favourite sounding row? I've never really thought about it. I'd probably say I'd probably say row 2, to be honest, the QWERTY row. That's usually the best sounding row. in my experience. But I do really like the sound that row 5 has on your keys down here when you're using row 5. Row 0 sounds really empty, so yeah. Thearonalau, we've done the giveaways already for today, I'm afraid, but we're going to be doing more giveaways on the next stream. Derek says Lodestone is probably going to be one of my boards of the year in Dats and Orange, of course. Yeah, it does look really good. Both Flex and I are really excited to get that. Duckcom says an artisan holder. That's exactly what Flex wants it for, funnily enough. Yeah, exactly what Flex wants it for. Does having the weight under just the alphas make a big difference in sound? Yes, it can do, P for first. So if you take a board that has a weight and say it's a TKL, I don't have a TKL to hand, but say we've got say this is your board here, right? And your weight is dead center. The keys here and here will sound different to what they do here, and it will sound different as you get further towards the center as well. If you take the weight from here and you move it to there and you put it just underneath the alphas, such as the Jane CEV2 did when we built that the other day, and that's just on the back just over there, that does make a difference. The Ger Mini also did that as well. They had the weight on the rear, and rather than go across the middle piece like this, it was actually kind of to this side. That was a 65%, so it had an extra row on the side, but it went underneath the alphas, and it was vastly offset to one side. Made a big difference. You could definitely hear the difference in the sound of the keys on the right hand side compared to the left, so it does make a difference in sound. But yes, Demon has never thought about that. I'm not sure what he didn't think about, but probably a lot. But yes, we will be giving some more giveaway stuff next week. I've got about 25 more games to do, so Brian's got a list of games as well. I'm really tempted to do something like give away a $100 voucher for Steam as well, something like really big for someone as well. So do stay tuned for those next week, and I'll try and do a big giveaway for that. I'll try and arrange that in the next couple of days. The only problem with Steam gift cards is that you have to be friends to order them through Steam, and then you can't do it for 3 days, so whoever does win that might have to wait a couple of days. Seep, who won the $10 gift card last week, had to wait a couple of days for his, I'm afraid, but yes, we will do that as well. But with that said, that's it for the stream. That's the Polaris built board. Just to recap really quickly, board absolutely stunning, colour absolutely stunning, really big fan of this. You know, it's amazing. Really love it. I just need to fix the sound on it, so I'm probably going to change the switches. I don't think the amount of flexibility I don't think lends itself well to tactile switches, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to put some Gatoron switches in there most likely, or maybe some JWK switches. I'll have a look and see what I've got in stock, and I'll desolder it during the week, and we'll rebuild it next Sunday. What else are we talking about? Catch you later. Have a good night, peeps. Yeah, thank you very much. Wouldn't such expensive vouchers make more sense for the keyboard vendors? So the reason why I'm doing the giveaways, Daniel, is to keep people entertained during lockdown. So as all the countries in the world are locked down, people are turning to Discords, to streams, to video games, all of that kind of stuff. I want to give people something to do during, during the lockdown. If I give them a gift card, they spend it, it's done. They have to wait 6 months to get something in. I want them to have something to do that keeps them entertained and gives them something to wear and to go. And speaking of which, I am looking at ways that we can do our watch along. So we are going to watch the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou movie on the Discord at some point soon, and we're going to kind of do like a movie club where we watch it all together. I should be able to announce that probably tomorrow when that's going to happen, so watch out for that as well. Cool. Pennywise, don't worry, missed the build. We're going to be rebuilding the board next week because I'm not satisfied with these switches, so don't worry about it. Next week we'll rebuild the board. There we go. Cool. Right then, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you to everyone who watched today. Thank you to everyone who took part in the giveaways. Thank you to everyone who donated codes for the giveaways. There was a few people watching, James, A1A, a few other people as well. So thank you very much to those guys. And I shall speak to you all later. Thanks again, guys. Take care and see you later. Bye-bye.